I run a design studio primarily focused in the Web3 space. I started it a year and 6 days ago now. Me, myself, and I designing, and now we're a team of 15 plus, scaled in every way we can imagine. Full, outreach teams, sales teams, development teams, design teams, etc. And on top of that, I also run Leadify, which is a lead generation business for Web3 brands. So kind of like everything sales and lead gen we do for those brands as well. So quite sales heavy. But also kind of in the design space at the same time.
Nice. So happy birthday, first of
Yeah,
all.
thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Happy birthday,
And
bro.
yeah, the first thing we wanted to ask is actually the meaning of the brand V21 is victory and growth, which is very powerful. But we wanted to ask, representing that statement is a pretty bold move to do. What is the biggest or hardest challenge you've had so far representing this name?
I would say it's not going to be client facing, it actually be more internal. And I think the boys wouldn't mind me speaking about this, but essentially when we started the company, everybody was on salaries, right? So I would headhunt on X and be like, yo, how much do you want per month to work for me? They're like, you know what, Miki, like 2K, 2.5K, whatever. Everyone was starting out that I was hiring at the time. So we'd get them on this salary, right? And then I would pile on project after project after project. They'll be on like their 5th landing page that week, and they'll be like, Miki, I just can't take any more on, right? And then they're kind of not incentivized to do good work, and they're still taking work on the side, and they prioritize those clients over this work. So it kind of gets a little bit mushy, right? So I had to basically let me take a step back. So they're not happy with the pay. They're not happy with taking on that much work for not much ROI than they would if they started freelancing. They're not incentivized to prioritize my work over the other client's work. How can I fix this problem? And on top of that, what we also ran into is I have a huge, because I started hiring like crazy because I started getting lots of work. We had a huge payroll, right? Like at the time, I think it was like 15K a month. And then we had a terrible month, I think it was January, right? Worst month ever. I think I sold like 14K only. We had a 15K payroll. I was minus 1K. And then that month was like, for me, I was like, okay, something needs to change. So what we did is I said, boys, for every ticket I get, I will give you a percentage of revenue, which at the time was 50%. Of that ticket that I sell, you can keep 50%, I keep 50%. How does that sound? And then obviously we raised our prices, and my boys went from making 2.5K a month to now 10, 20, 30K, some of them that have built out micro teams underneath them that are basically managed to multi-X their earnings just by taking more ownership of it. How do I win on that side? My current overhead is 15,000, but I have a team of 15. Why is that the case? It's because only my project manager and head BD are on bases. Everyone else is on performance metrics, and majority of that money just goes towards marketing anyway, like my sales team, right? So what we did is basically if I have a terrible month, I'm only in the back pocket 15K. If we have a banger month, we just scale with the revenue. So I would say that would be the biggest thing, is that we managed to turn from a very losing situation where nobody was really happy to a team that is now cares so much about the work, the clients, the whole experience, that after I sell a project, I don't really have to worry too much about the delivery part. The team, Natalie handles it, Victor, David, anyone else in the team, whoever it is, they handle it perfectly fine. And I can just continue selling this because I know these guys are as invested as me. And I would say that's the biggest challenge we had, was that making sure everyone's aligned. And then we switched it, and then everyone's better off basically, except the work-life balance is a bit shady because everyone works too much because they want to make the most money they can. Thanks, brother. Yeah, I think the raising prices was the best thing I ever did. I had a client in December that I basically refunded the project for just because they were extending scope a little bit too much. And I was like, hey, this is way out of what we agreed, and super way out of. I would either need to increase the budget on this one, or I'm happy to refund it. Some other team can pick it up. I don't mind losing out the time that I invested on this. I don't want to kind of, take it on because I know it's just going to drain resources. And I was already, by the way, fully break even, if not in the negative on that project. And they were saying that, Miki, bro, you can't raise prices. Your only competitive edge is how cheap you are. And I was like, no, the fuck it ain't. So basically what I did after that is doubled my prices and then doubled them again. And then here we are, charging multiple X's what we charged back then. So that's what I would say is the biggest thing. Is when people think that you should be competing on price, I think there are 3 pillars you compete on: quality, the time, how quick you deliver, and price. And what V21 is it's not cheap, but it delivers quickly and it delivers with good quality. And that's what we want to position ourselves as: premium, but great. not going to be slow. We're not going to have bad quality. We're not going to, be really cheap. We're going to charge premium, but we're going to deliver those results, and just making sure that that's kind of conveyed to the clients and everybody that's working with us. That's kind of like the most important thing. And the other like victory point I'd say we took up as well, just touching on that point.
That's amazing. I mean, when price match the quality, I think that's the best equation, because sometimes we get to see like, oh yeah, I want to increase my prices, but the quality isn't there yet, or you have somebody that's just entry level. But when your team is, man, it's getting better, you have some seniors, you have some people that they've been for a little while and they know exactly what they're doing.
It's also got to match the budget of the client, right? You like, another thing is like, you got to play to the client's budget. If their budget's 20K and you want to do 22K, I think, going 19.99 might be a better idea than trying to squeeze out an extra 2K as well. So just kind of making sure you play the balancing game, because sometimes, a cheaper project might lead to bigger things as well. But typically when a client tells you that, it doesn't. But if you can feel it does, then go for it and charge a little bit less as well.
Yeah, and that's such a good point, because as you saw you serve, sometimes the client may say they have 10,000 as a budget, but they're looking for a 20,000 project because all the things that they threw into the proposal or something, and it's just the way you saw you serve. You're gonna end selling that 20,000. Like, look, what you're looking for is about 20,000 in value, and I will give you for 15,000. And you can work in different ways in the marketing. And that client just came for 10,000, might end paying like 15, 17, 18,000, just in the way that you saw you serve, you saw the services. I have a question for you, Miki. So you throw like big numbers, brother, like 800 millions in lifetime value, 50 millions in revenue. Your clients have raised like 150 millions. Can you give us like a perfect case study for you that you like, in like a project that changed everything, and the way that you think about design and everything, and you say from this project is a before and after in the business?
For sure. I would say, just to preface that, the majority of the numbers we put out is like client metrics before and after us, right? Because majority of it is just social proof. Because a lot of the time we do cold outreach and we need companies to understand that we're trustworthy and we're building in this ecosystem. We just need to show them those metrics. Are like, hey, by the way, our clients, these are our clients and stuff. So like, even yesterday, I had to ask a couple of my clients to DM a prospect from their official X accounts, because they wanted to make sure that we're a real company. So I had to go ask like some of our clients, like, yo, do you mind just DMing them saying we're the best and stuff like that, which happens. But yeah, case studies. So for example, like, I'm never going to tell you it's cause and effect, right? Because, for example, I cannot tell you directly that my redesign caused the volume for this exchange to go up by 5x. But what I can tell you is there's a correlation. So if we look at this company called Hybrid Finance, we did at the beginning of September. When they came to us, they were kind of edging towards their lows of daily volume. It was around 10 million per day of volume traded on that platform. We did the implementation, I think, over around 2 weeks. They implemented the front end, and they were kind of teasing this on their socials. And a lot of people were actually getting kind of like a lot of traction around it. It was on Hyperliquid, a project, right? And somebody from the community actually did an analysis of their redesign and gave us a 9 out of 10. Right? I was like, okay, cool. This is amazing. I checked the chart later of their DeFi like statistics. They went from 10 million to now averaging about 30 to 50 million daily volume. And I'm thinking like, okay, like, why did that happen? So I look at the price of Hype. I'm like, okay, there was an increase in price here. That could lead to some more volumes. What's another thing is like, okay, we had the design go out at that time as well. So I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. I looked on their socials. What were they talking about? Primarily the redesign at the time, right? There was a lot of stuff that was going around. So I was like, I think we can definitely say there was an increase over after our design came in. Was it 100% from us? Potentially not, right? But what I like to say is I like to disclose this to all my clients. I'm like, this is a correlation. This is what we found. Another one when with like Vault Finance, right? We started working with them. There were like about 200 mil there at their 350 million TVL. And like, we launched the front end and they did publicly, go for it. And a lot of people did love it. But it's like, okay, is that just the case because of the design, or was it because Solana went up in that time, or because of the marketing efforts, etc.? So what I say to all my clients is I say, I'm never claiming direct cause and effect. What I'm claiming is correlation. And then the clients themselves say to me like, Miki, come on, it's because of design. I'm like, no, brother, like, you got to understand, But yeah, I would never say like, hey, with the sole reason, because bear in mind, like, if a client raises after your pitch deck, it's like, yeah, your pitch deck helped, but what if it's the founder's personality? And I think that anyone that actually takes full account for like their results, it's a bit on the edge. But I always say it's a correlation. I'm not taking full accountability for it. It's a team effort, but that's kind of the way I position that. But those would be like two correlational examples I can give.
That's pretty insane. I mean, it sounds like you're utilizing everything the perfect way. And you also mentioned at the beginning that you have a lead gen agency, and it sounds like you're really bringing everything together for V21 as well as for the brands you're working with. Is that something you had before starting out, or is that something you got along the way? And how do you actually utilize it for the best with your brand and with your clients?
Well, the lead gen agency.
Yeah.
For sure. So I started V21 first. Leadify came earlier this year around April time. And essentially what I did to get my first client was cold outreach. And I was like, oh, okay, it worked to get my first client. Why wouldn't it work to get my second? Boom, I got my second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever. And I was like, okay, let me hire somebody. So I hired my younger brother to start outreaching for me. I was like, all right, give this a go. This is what I did. And then he started, working hourly. I paid him hourly per hour he worked. And I was like, oh, okay, look, this month we generated a positive ROI. January came around, I hired his friend, and then okay, cool. We now have two people on the outreach team, and then before you know it, now we're at 5 people, right? So it's like essentially it's just fucking around, finding out, seeing what you can do to generate these leads. Which in our case was just cold outreach. It's like, hey, would you like your homepage or a page in your product redesigned for free? If you love it, let's go hop on a call and I quick quote you. If you hate it, no harm, no foul. We can go our separate ways. They're like, yeah, let's do it. I'm like, cool. Okay, what do you want? What kind of things you're looking for? Then they'll tell us. We'll do the redesign, and I would say 80% converted into a paid project. And if you look at it from a customer acquisition cost, it's like I might, give my designer like, hey, look, I'll give you $500 if you go design this today. He'll go ahead and do it. He'll come back to me, and I just spent $500 to acquire that customer, for example, right? Whatever the final math will be. So we basically did that cold outreach. Then we scaled the team. We continued optimizing the offer, A/B testing. Our CRM is so big, it hurts my head to think about. Thank God Tom in our team exists because he manages that all for us. We're having a call actually after this to go over the results and kind of how we can optimize further. And basically from that, I was like, okay, cool. Let me make an agency out of this. We do this for other companies. So I made a bunch of marketing websites for a bunch of marketing companies within Web3. They loved us. I was like, hey guys, would you want more leads? And they're like, yeah, we'd love more leads. I'm like, cool, I have Leadify. How do you think about it? And they're like, okay, let's give it a go. So a client pays us X amount of money per month. We generate on average 54 leads for them. This is on average across all campaigns, 54 leads. We even have a guarantee where it's like, if we don't give you 30 leads, we refund you all the money back for that month. Don't worry about us. You can cancel the contract early. I just don't feel comfortable taking your money if you didn't get at least 30 leads. We help them optimize the sales processes to make sure that they can actually sell those leads, and then they make money. And Leadify is such a simple business because it's money in, money out. If the client has a positive ROI, they stay with us. If they don't, they churn. And why do they churn? Majority of the reasons is because they cannot close the leads. It's not because we can't generate them. It's because that when they do get them, they just don't have the systems and processes to be able to sell them. But that's also why we help them on that side. So when a client comes into Leadify, there are 2 directions we can send them. If they're like a product-focused B2C, we go down the social media route of helping them with social graphics. If they're B2B, we go down the Leadify route and I go sell them there. And majority of the time, one of the clients end up in 1 or 2 buckets. So it's quite a nice kind of overhaul business that allows me to really maximize the lifetime value of a customer within our ecosystem, either going to like Leadify or staying with V21 type stuff.
It's absolutely crazy how it took you less than a year to get it all figured out. I mean, I'm sure it had a lot of years of trial and error beforehand, but to get something this fine-tuned in a couple of months actually is super impressive.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I'm only 22, but I would say the life experiences around like university, just kind of like seeing what worked, what didn't, my placement year, like all these little bits, like even trying to sell like Pokemon cards at school and Yu-Gi-Oh cards, like all these little bits and pieces, you kind of get stuff to click across the way. And I think at the end of the day, I think I wrote this in my last post when I was celebrating the year, and I was saying that it's so simple to run a business. It's just like more, better, new. So do more of what works, do it better, do something new. And it's like, if anybody really just every single week, or like we do every single month, sit down with your whole entire team, ask them what's going well, what's going bad, and just genuinely think on how to fix it, put those things into practice, you'll multiple extra business. Like for example, right now, quarter to quarter, we've like 10x 3 quarters ago. Now we've 3x or 2.5x. Now we've 2x'd again in terms of revenue. And the reason for that is because we just sit down. We're like, okay, cool. Like delivery needs more people, or we need to hire a project manager, or we need to just get more outreach done, or we need to explore other outreach methods, or Miki needs to finally start a founder funnel, start posting content on X because he's been lazy. Like we figure all this out, and then if you put them in place, you'll see the ROI coming from that as well.
I can correlate the growth with 2 things that you guys are doing, and almost nobody pay attention or nobody really understand at the beginning, and that's client acquisition, and that's also core outreach. You need to start core outreach if no one knows you. That's plain and simple. So you need to start on that. And when you're not afraid of doing that, to reach out, to send email, to send DMs, most platforms, they allow you to send a DM. You can create a template with ChatGPT. There's many ways right now that you can scale core outreach. But I would also say the lead generation, man, it's also key. I'm glad that you found that company, because basically when you have a system, you have a marketing, you have a team, you know exactly what you want to deliver, but you don't have like a boost engine on getting leads. Basically, you have like a whole rocket sitting out there and not ready to launch. And that's frustrating sometimes, because you have the quality, you have everything, but you just need as many people as you can serve, high quality clients. But also something that you did is the lead acquisition. Most people have no idea about the lead acquisition. And it's hard to measure when you just putting content out there. And I've been through those phases, and I'm trying to figure out still, like, as a solopreneur, how to work around with the lead acquisition, because every lead has a price, bro. And I'm glad that you get to see, you know what, mine, it has at least 500. That's something that's a max probably you're willing to spend on a lead right now, because you know you can bring like 10x, 20x from that investment into the projects. So the lead acquisition, brother, I think is insane. And when many agencies, they figure out what's my lead acquisition cost, so I can deliver out there the content. I know exactly how to market my services. I think that's key, because then you know how to scale. You know you can spend like 2K, 5K, 10K on marketing, or even more, but you're bringing like 2, 3, 4, 5x. Especially if you have a team, probably you can maximize that, because everyone, I think, in the employee on corporate, normally company make 2 to 3x what they pay you. They made that in value for the time that you provide to them. That's plain numbers. You don't, if they pay you 50K, you don't make them 50K. You make them at least 100, 75, 150K. So that's exactly how the number, and that's exactly on business. When you know the lead acquisition, you know exactly how much they cost. I think it's pretty amazing that you narrow down lead acquisition and core outreach, and from there, basically, you have like a client database right now. You have like a portfolio very strong in that niche. In my opinion, you are the number one agency in that niche right now. And I go to Twitter, I go to see all different agency, and you guys crushing it there.
I appreciate that. I think there are much bigger players in the back rooms. One of the things you got to realize, I realized about crypto, is the amount of conversations that go in the back rooms. Like, the most influential people, they have so much deal flow sent to them that they outsource to agencies that don't need to have a presence. They don't need to do cold outreach, because these guys are making $2 million a month just because these two big central exchanges give them all their deal flow. That's really how it works. And like, relationships are very important, especially in crypto, because it is a big industry, sure, but at the same time, it's very small. That only a certain amount of people actually get the majority of the deal flow. So it's very important that you have a good name for yourself, and you try to do everything ethically. But going back to the point of like lead generation, I think like another thing is why I like the position I'm in. And I think like if anyone's relying on just social media for their inbound, it's a scary position to be in, because I know every single month, if I put a certain amount of dollars into my outreach team, I will get a certain amount of dollars back in terms of leads, or a certain amount of leads, a certain amount of opportunities that I can have to sell. So for example, last month, I think we did like 112 leads. And I think like 98 of them were cold outreach, right? So I know that if I spent, 15K on my outreach team, I get 100 leads, and I know how many of those I can close, and then how much money I can get. It just makes an equation that just makes sense. So like, you just keep putting money in until it stops giving you the ROI you want. And if it stops, you try to do it better. And if you can't do it better, you find something new. And just having that system gives me the comfortability to say, okay, I can go hire another couple of people because I know I'll have this many deals next month. But it also does come with its pressure of every month. Like tomorrow, we're restarting. The pipeline's there, but the revenue's zero, and you got to just crush it again, So it also has that hunger part to it as well.
Yeah, 100%. That's exciting. That's the excitement of building a business.
I love it when you're on like the 30th or the 31st, and you're like, okay, cool. We're all-time high, we're chilling, and then you look at pipeline, it's like zero, and then like the first week of the month is just nothing, and you're like, wow, okay, I've already wasted a week and I'm at zero. We had that actually this month, and we're nearly at all-time high again. And then like I look at pipeline now, and it's just like over 6 figures, and I'm like, a bunch of deals are so gonna close next week or this week, but it's like I can't close them this month. I gotta close them next month, but at least next month's starting really well. So it's just a game of building pipelines. And like I spoke to a bunch of founders, especially the ones that rely on inbound on X, and these guys have like 30,000 followers. They're like, Miki, how do you do cold outreach? Because sometimes they might have a bad week. They don't want to post as much, right? But the thing with me is it's like I can have a bad week, not post a single thing, but my outreach team is still going. So building basically scalable and predictable systems is the best thing you can do. And that's what will get you past like I don't know, like 80K plus like a million and up if you want to go a year. Like you need to have some sort of predictability. If it's not going to be socials, you need some sort of like generation method that you can just scale, where you can just put dollars in and it just skyrockets for you. And that's what lead gen in regarding cold outreach is for us, for example.
It sounds like you got it all pretty much figured out in that term, where I think many founders who are bigger and older don't. And like you said, they are basically kind of trusting their online presence or their persona to get the leads. And that's, I feel like, tricky, because what if they go on vacation? It still all depends on them, as if they're freelancers at some level if they don't do this. But it seems like that's what you focus on mainly right now in the studio. And for those who don't know, you did start designing. You started as a designer. So I wanted to ask, going from designing to founding V21, what was the first thing you had to give up? Was it design? Was it something else? Was it design? Yeah.
I was always a natural salesman and a CEO. Like I was made for that role. It's funny how I even started designing websites, because like I had a business idea every time I had a business idea, because I had hundreds. Like I had a clothing brand that failed, lost me a bunch of money, like a recruitment agency that I lost a bunch of money on. And every time I always made a website first and then I tried to get clients. And my dad went to be like, Miki, bro, stop fucking making websites for yourself and your failed businesses. Just go and make them for other businesses. And I was like, bro, that is a great idea. So then I learned Framer in like a weekend, got my first client. And then just from there, like I think it was like my 5th client already, I already started outsourcing and hiring. So it was a very natural progression for me. I knew sales and running a company is what I wanted to do every day of the week. And it was just like, how quickly can I actually get somebody in place where I can make a bunch of profit and it can make a bunch of money and we can just scale together, because I really wanted to just do sales. And I think the biggest thing that comes from me is like, what's like my value add, right? It's like, I have a design eye. I know what good sales and conversion looks like, and I have that business acumen. And that's what a lot of founders need. They don't need a designer, not all the time, but they don't need like a designer to tell them like, oh, this looks pretty, we can do this. And like that creative side, that's for my guys to do. That's for my team to do. I'm there to tell you that like, okay, cool. From a business perspective, if we wanted to scale your application or your business, this is what we need to do. You need a website, you need this, you need that, you need this. Or you don't need a website, you actually just need lead gen, come to Leadify. So like, that's the thing I think I bring the most value, is in that kind of angle rather than design. But yeah, first outsource design, man. So everyone here is so much better than me. Like these guys are so good. Like if I find anyone good on X, like I'm in their DMs trying to hire them. And I haven't headhunted just yet, but like if there's any other studios that have some good talent, like if I'm in the DMs of your employees, I apologize, but like good talent is rare to come by sometimes as well.
I'd suggest checking out Contra. They have pretty great talents there if you need new people.
I've been searching on X. I'll check out Contra, because like I need to hire quickly, because we're by the pipeline. I need people, and I need good quality as well. So that if anyone wants anything, drop it in the comments. I'll check it out after the live as well.
Yeah, no, honestly, I have seen a lot of really good talent on Contra. I posted yesterday about this company. They posted a job, like a one-time something on Framer for 300 a month ago, and this week they came back and they post a full-time role for the same thing on Framer for 3,500 a month, because they get to see the quality. Probably they looking for hiring the same person, but at the end of the day, I love to see from the platform that people don't see it, or agency don't see it as other platforms quality. Like everyone just jump into the same job. This is more like curated. We get matched to different jobs. But yeah, I would say Contra is a really good example. Even if you are like overseas, different continents, different country, there's a really good high quality everywhere, bro, that you get to see on the Framer space. On the I haven't seen anyone like really nailing down the crypto. So I would say if you even like open an account and get to see how the platform works, you get to connect with a lot of people in different spaces. But the network is amazing. But you say something there. I was kind of clicking when you scaling without system. There's no equation there. So I know probably something next for Daniel and I, and gonna take person at least, is hiring somebody else for doing something. At least on my case, I haven't hired anybody like even part-time or full-time to do anything on my business. And that's something that at some point we need to start giving up, like, or even the design or the marketing part. But something that you also we're touching, and I can relate straight to that, is the growth part, the macro part. When sometimes we get to see the clients, let's say has designer just the website. Oh, you need a website, nice. This is what you need for the website, landing page, hero section. But when you see from the macro, it's like, okay, the website just one part. Let's look around. What else do you need? Do you need to launch the website? Do you need to build the product? Do you need this? Do you need that? When we look on the macro, there's so much stuff that we can probably serve to that client. And if we don't serve and we have a network that's curated, that they're high talent and they can provide those services, I think there's a lot of opportunities for us to be like outside and see what is exactly the needs that our clients has besides just a website, besides just a landing page, besides just that. They probably need more stuff. Maybe they need to start with branding. So that's something I'm really thinking about and looking at and trying to compile all the different things that my clients or my target audience, in my case, is creators, brands, especially like e-commerce brands that they're looking for growth. Sometimes they have branding in place, but there's other thing that I can always serve them and I can offer. And most of the time that will be outside my skills because you cannot do everything. I know some people they run like 7 figures agency, has a solo. I believe at some point they need to hire someone, even if they don't say it. That's my belief. But that's exactly how I see it. And I'm glad that you saw from the beginning, man. You saw the first client, you like, I need to scale this. I need to hire somebody else.
Yeah. Because I wasn't trying to make just 10K a month, man. I was after for the millions, so that's kind of why you needed to scale quickly. And I would want to say like, this is called service dropping or like drop shipping, but for service-based businesses. And like I know guys in the crypto space that have an agency where it's just 3 people and it's him, a BD, and like an ops person, and everything is outsourced, and they make like $500,000 a month, easy. And they just basically, because of the network and what they've built, they basically can just, have everyone under them create their own studios, design studios, and then just outsource and then just handle the client facing aspect of it, and then just make so much money doing that. And there's not only just one, there's like multiple studios which do this kind of sort of work. So there's 2 ways you can do that. You can either be very transparent with your clients. Like, for example, I literally pitched a client yesterday and I was saying, hey, look, the mascot that we're going to create for your brand is going to be done by Wizard Studios. They're a fantastic partner of us. They're going to take it for you. They did the one for Jupiter. And I was fully transparent with that because there's no point of lying when you're outsourcing like that. And I typically keep it very, very transparent because we don't have to outsource because we have a majority of the stuff in-house. But when your service dropping like that, like it's a lot of money you can make, but it's a slippery road because I mean, I've had contractors or suppliers screw us over and then you're screwed. And then your deadline's tomorrow. The guy hasn't given you anything. He's saying he forgot about the project or whatnot. And you're just like, okay, crap, I can't do anything here. So you might burn a relationship just because you tried it on that one client.
Yeah, but it sounds like that you have to try at some point or just,
the way we try it is whenever I try someone new, I try 2 people new, I destroy my margins for that project. But because I'm trialing new people, I basically pay double for what I would normally. So we make like no margins on it, but at least I have the insurance that if one of them screws me over, the other one's still working. And I tell the client, hey, we're working with 2 people on this one. I want to make sure that we give you 2 visions to have a look at, and then they can kind of take the steer there. Because I've had people screw me over in the past, and I learned my lesson that you can't just have one new guy try it. So you need to have multiple. So sometimes I will get that insurance, which is what I like to call it, which is double my cost, but it's worth it to keep the relationship and make sure the client's happy at the end.
Yeah, definitely. We are about to end the pod. In terms of time, are you good with a couple more minutes? We have a round of rapid fire questions. Basically, we're going to ask you a bunch of questions, and you should reply as fast as possible without thinking too much. So yeah, Ismail, are you ready to start?
Yeah, let's go. All right, number 1 is which design trend would you kill off tomorrow if you could?
I don't like brutalist stuff. Too abstract for me. I don't think it's nice. I think it misses the mark completely.
What's the worst file name sitting in your drive right now?
I don't think I have anything that bad. I think a majority of the ones when I slash my keyboard like this and it's just like da 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 da, and I completely forgot what it is. That's probably the one. And it's like some important proposal or something.
What's the biggest exaggeration that you ever made in a pitch when you were starting?
I don't think we make a lot of exaggerations. I think majority of it is like handling the expectations and making sure like it's the right expectation. I don't know. It's a tough one. Maybe when I started and I could say, when I started and I said I'd get it done in like a week and then like it would take me a bit longer because I tried to find someone for it. That could be one. But right now we're kind of chilling on everything. We make sure we learned that like if the expectations are right and you and the client see eye to eye, you won't have problems later down in delivery. So that's what we do now. But probably back then it would be like timelines and stuff like that.
What do you do if a client comes to you and says, "Hey, I got 2 weeks for this project"?
Well, I do whatever I can to make it happen. But if I can't, then I say, look, you're gonna rush this for what? You're gonna spend all this money to make it for 2 weeks. What's the final goal? Is it a big announcement? Why do you want it done in 2 weeks? If it's just speed, then I'm like, why rush it? Is it not that important, etc.? And I get to the objection, and typically we can extend it. But if they genuinely need it done in like 2 weeks because they have a massive announcement, then I do whatever I can to make it work. And if I told them like, look, you're not gonna get it done with us, they're just not gonna get it done with us, and they can go somewhere else to see if they can get it done. But I guarantee you, sometimes they come to me and it's 2 weeks and I look at it, I'm like, there's no way anyone gets this done in 2 weeks. If they do, I want to go to them. I want to hire them as well. So yeah.
Good. What is something that you feel that you need to learn and you're still like a young founder? And what is an advantage that you think you secretly have
as a young founder?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say a lot of people buy into me instead of our product sometimes. I had somebody come to me inbound, which is a multi-million exit founder, exited the massive fintech company before. And we were on the sales call. I was like, yep, so that's it. And he's like, you know, man, like I like you, let's do it. And it's because of that, because they like the connection. They like the connection we make throughout our sales process. They like who I am. They see themselves like the younger self in me, and like that hunger and that thing. Because they usually ask me like, bro, how long have you been running this shit? Like that's a question I get so often because I'm so young, and that plays to a massive advantage. People buy into me because I'm young and they see themselves in me, and I appreciate that because that's a great advantage. And I've never had anyone kind of complain that, oh, you're too young to know what we're doing, because the case studies that we have just prove themselves, right? So it's a very good advantage. Like if you're like, even if you're like 16, man, like 16, like, and you're starting in the design agency, like, and you're like with a guy that's 30 on the call or like 40 or whatever, like, bro, that guy's gonna love you, man. Like there's no way he doesn't. As long as you have good quality, like you're selling him every day of the week, and he's gonna be a loyal customer forever, as long as you don't screw it up.
That's a great tip. Yeah, I didn't know you're 22 either. I thought you were probably around 30.
Really?
Yeah, not because of looks, just because, again, like the way the studio works and how everything is set up. Like,
nah, man, I'm young. Just finished
looks,
uni like
what you're
a couple
doing.
months ago.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So you had this going.
Yeah,
I said without the beard, you look 18 now.
I can't grow a beard, man. It doesn't work for me that well. I don't.
So you had this kicking off while you were in uni.
Yeah, I was at uni. I had a lot of help from ChatGPT and my friends to make sure everything worked out. But yeah, managed to graduate in psychology, which is pretty cool. But I'm not gonna lie, uni didn't really teach me much, except I would say that going to uni allowed me to fuck around and find out, because there was no expectation of me to have a real job and have real progression. It was more about like, get this thing done in 4 years and then see what you can do after. And all that time in between, like lectures and stuff, it was just fuck around, find out, clothing brand, car wash business, fucking selling Pokemon cards online, fucking CSGO skin trading, whatever the fuck came up to me, like I could just get done. And I tried, and I lost a bunch of money. I made like a little bit of money. I made some money in crypto, then lost it all. Like I managed to do that, and then it just it just gave me so many lessons being at uni. But regarding the actual like degree, it's dog shit. Don't go to uni, it's a scam, at least in my eyes, in my perspective. If you're going for like some medical stuff, go for it. But in my experience, I never liked it. I don't recommend it to anyone that asks me.
Nice.
Dude, I'm glad you found out what you really like, really young, because that's something that honestly a lot of people struggle when they're at that age. When I was your age, I came to US exactly when I was 22 years old. And that was like a reset of not my career, my life. I quit my job, I left my family back, I came to the US and kind of start from zero. And here, without language, without the culture or anything, I had no idea what to do at that time. It took me several years to find out, like, I want to do coding, I want to do cloud computing, I got certified. I went through all of that before I got to work exactly on, I get my hands on exactly on what I love to do. So I think you have like a huge advantage, brother, compared with the entire market. Not just with an industry and some freelancers and some platforms. You have a huge advantage in the entire market right now, not just on the design, but when you guys featuring. And in my opinion, I'm not into the crypto stuff. I used to be during pandemic, but I know it's massive. And I think it's just going up from here. And I know that a lot of people, they're not into that right now, but has that explode, it has that centralized government law taking places in different countries, I think that would be one of the biggest industry that will change everything. I think that will disrupt banking and in the near future.
For sure. I mean, it has already in some countries. Like you look at like some countries like I think it's Venezuela that has so much like crypto, and they're just like implementing it everywhere. And like the US is now looking at it and stuff. Like the ETFs came in. Like I think we're definitely going in the right direction. And I like this industry because of the people that you meet. They're so well connected. Everyone's so chill, and like it's some of the best clients I've worked with. So yeah, I really like the industry in of itself.
Yeah, we'll follow up on you and see how the studio is going, and also if you're looking for new talent, we can help you on the lookout with some people we know.
Please.
So
I'm opening Contra after this live. I'm gonna scour. See what
and if anyone is looking for a job, comment down below. Let Miki know, and who knows?
I'll check it out. If the work is clean, you'll get a DM from me. That's number one. So I gotta see the work is pristine. If it is, then you have a DM. And a designer with us can make 10K and up typically. So if you're good, so that's what we like to advertise as well.
That's amazing. Let's do something. If you're in Contra, drop your portfolio link below. If you know, just drop your website. And Miki will go to them. But I think it's a huge opportunity, especially on X too.
And thanks again, guys. Appreciate your time so much.
Likewise, bro. Thanks for joining us.